What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Coffee Talks Live with Stizzle Speaks. I'm excited for this week. Excited to have you guys here. You know, this is my YouTube channel where we talk about all things leadership, lifestyle, love, and leveling up. And today we're going to talk a lot about lifestyle and leveling up with the wonderful J Bell of Zyn Wellness, where she's going to talk about her products, how she got into this industry, and we're just going to have a good time. So I hope you guys are ready. Again, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of those beautiful things they talk about on YouTube. Do them and do them now. Make sure you let your friends know about Coffee Talks Live every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific. We go live and we talk about everything that has to do with leadership, lifestyle, love, loving up for our women. I don't know who's. All right, so wait no more. I'm going to get ready to get Miss J Bell in here. So if you guys are excited, make sure you leave some comments, ask some questions, all those good things. Let me see if my guest is ready. Hello. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Boom.
There we go. Hello. We're like twins.
We are, right? I'm like super chill. I'm like, let me get into my Zen mode right
No,
now.
I love it. You're very zen. You got the fireplace in the back. You know,
Sure.
everything's going. How's
Yes.
everything?
Everything is popping, sis. How are you?
Good to see you. And I know I saw you Friday at the outlet.
Yes, I
Shout
came
out.
to you real quick. You look so beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm
You're
here
welcome.
trying to do something, you know. But I'm excited. Thank you for being a guest on Coffee Talks Live.
Yes.
You know, this is really a moment for women where we talk about leadership, lifestyle, love, and leveling up. And just so you all know, everybody who's watching, Jay actually attended my first Coffee Talks live, like in person live.
Yes.
And that's how we met. That was back in December. And so I did a panel of women just talking about all the four L's that we go over here in Coffee Talks. And, you know, she just happened to come across the event. There was no plan in showing up, and she showed up. And I'm so glad you did. So
Yes.
glad we connected. And I'm excited to talk about your journey in entrepreneurship, how you got to this place, you know, where you started, and be able to give people some gems on, you know, basically getting into this world in this industry. Because for me, I look at CBD like something, one, I don't know anything about it, so I'm excited to learn. And two, it seems like, you know, it would be a male dominated industry because I just think of weed and I think men. I don't think really women when that happens. So to start out, you know, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about, it's Zen, right? Is it Zen?
Yep. It's
Okay, make
Zen.
sure I'm saying it right. Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes. Yep. So I'm Jay, like Sizzle said. I can't believe it's been since December. That's crazy. Like you said that, I'm like, wow, time flies. But
Yes.
I'm Jay. I am the owner of Zyn Wellness. We are a CBD product, skincare, and lifestyle brand based in Los Angeles. I am actually from Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm from a place where cannabis is still not completely legal, which we'll get into later. But I started Zen here in California, and I actually started it in the midst of COVID because, you know, we all in the house. I feel like a lot of people started some things in COVID because we had so much like extra time working remote. But
Right.
I started it because I have a beauty background. And for me, I wanted to combine my love of cannabis, advocacy, and beauty, and spread that to the community in the form of self love and wellness. So that's kind of what we do over here at Zen. So we have products, and then we promote a wellness lifestyle.
Love it. Love it. And so before moving to LA, were you doing anything in Zen and at home in North Carolina, or did it really pop off when you got here?
As far as the brand itself,
As far as the brand itself?
well, yeah, it popped off. Like I've been here for 8 years, so it'll be our 1 year anniversary on 420. So I just launched then, like not far from the time that I met you.
Very dope. Okay, I
Yes,
didn't realize that. Awesome,
yes,
awesome.
yes, yes,
So a year coming up, month is starting in a day. So
yes,
that's exciting. So
yes.
talk to me about how you came up with the name.
Okay, so I had a pretty interesting lifestyle growing up. I kind of grew up in the trap, so there was a lot of activity always around me, and I wanted to always create a space where I had quiet time. I'm the oldest of five, like other siblings, like so I was always taking care of them. So I used to have this little place that I used to go in my house. We had a very small house, but it was just like this little small space that I could just fit in and just be quiet. And that's kind of where I learned how to meditate per se. It wasn't like in the traditional methods that you see now, but those moments helped. So I carried those moments somewhat throughout my life. And I call the brand Zen with a Y because life can be pretty tumultuous. And at any given time, you need to be able to zen yourself out, no matter where you are. It may take 10 seconds. You may be at work. You may be at home and have more time to meditate, whatever that looks like, in the car on the 405, because sometimes you need a little zen up in there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But being able to put yourself and insert you in your Zen. So that's why it's spelled ZYN, Zen
Love
Wellness.
that. Love
Yes.
that. And so year in, what was like the first month like for you? Like, how did you even start
Oof.
understanding like I want to do products? I
Uh-huh.
know I want to offer to the community. And how did like CBD become the thing that was part of Zen?
Okay, so I've always been a cannabis consumer and advocate, even in North Carolina. So my mom is extremely cannabis friendly. So, and that was, THC, obviously. But I've always been around cannabis, and I've seen how it's always been somewhat like a healer for me. I actually had a neck injury back in the day, and I started using CBD then, and it was really helpful with inflammation and just helping me manage stress and anxiety. So, coupling that with my beauty background and my love for just peace of mind, I wanted to create this brand. So I first started because I grew up in the trap. I started making my own CBD products, and then I realized that you can't do that. You
Right.
can't do it like that. So it has to be done in a certain type of facility, and there's all of these things and regulations because hemp is actually legal. So my brand is hemp derived. It's not THC derived. So let's be clear there because there's
Gotcha.
a difference, a big difference in the things that you have to do legislatively, regulations, all these things. So I wanted to get in the space by creating a brand that I'm familiar with, beauty, and incorporate CBD into the brand so that I could not just show people how to use skincare, but show them how to heal themselves with plant medicine. And that's why I incorporate wellness too, so that we can help people identify what that looks like for them. And you can keep your skin on fleek at the same time.
Right. And your skin always looks really good.
Thank
Always
you.
got
Thank
that
you.
that certain glow. So okay, so I'm very interested when you say you started creating your own products with the hemp back home. Like, what does that process look like? Do you just take like, because all I know about weed is like you have a bud, the little,
Oh,
circle, whatever it looks
you're
like.
thinking
Is
flour.
this
You're thinking
completely
flour.
different?
Okay, yes. So not flour, right? So there's different derivatives of the cannabis plant, right? So you have these things called cannabinoids. And excuse me because I'm so used to talking to people who are in the industry, so I have to kind of go back a little bit.
That's
So
okay.
cannabinoids are all of the derivatives of the cannabis plant. So they can be extracted in a lot of different ways. You have your oils, you have powder. Some people make water soluble powder to make it easier to absorb in certain things. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I was using oil because that's what I had access to. So, being that I'm in the beauty industry, I have created products before. So, I'm making CBD edge stuff. Like, I'm just dropping oil. Like, I'm making the product, but not realizing the steps that I actually have to take to do it correctly. So, I learned by having my PayPal closed for 6 months because they shut me down, kept all my money for like 6 months. And then I realized that, oh, I can't do it this way, and I had to learn how to do it the right way. So I just had to do some research and figure out what that looked like. So I jumped in kind of head first.
Okay. All right. So you're here, you're making these products, you're actually
Yep.
selling them to people,
Yep.
like not just making them for yourself, but actually selling them, using your
Mm-hmm.
PayPal to sell the products. And it wasn't technically legal because
Well,
FDA regulations.
correct. Just because of the way that it's manufactured. So it has to be manufactured in a certain type of facility. You have to be able to prove that they have this thing called a certificate of analysis, that there is the legal limit is 0.03% THC is allowable in your CBD products. So in order to be able to be consistent and test that, you got to do that in a facility. So I had to
Gotcha.
outsource and white label and kind of work on my own formulations to create the products.
Gotcha. And now, for those watching that may not know, what's white labeling? Because some people
Okay,
may
so
not know
white
if they just
labeling
jumped on
is
here.
yeah. So and I also help people to develop their own CBD brands too. So let me get into white labeling. So white labeling is if you want to create a brand, you have your own branding and all of this, but you don't necessarily have product. You would purchase product from a company who was already making it, and then you would just brand it as your own.
Got it.
So
So
this
slap
works
your
for
label
white.
on there.
Pretty much. So if they were to just say whatever this brand bottle of water is, they would basically sell this to me without the label. I would put my brand on it and it's mine now. So
Okay.
that's kind of how white labeling works.
Perfect. And now, going back to PayPal, like, were you able to recoup your money from them at a certain point when you
It took a
passed
minute, but
regulation?
it was like $1,400 though, girl. So like that's significant when you're first starting and like
Yes.
and then I was also out of the product because I gotta send people their stuff that they've ordered. So it was just a hot mess. It just took like 6 months.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so interesting. But
Yeah.
again, now there's someone on here who can learn
Yeah.
from your experience and going through
100%.
the process, that if they're at home and they're like, I really want to create these CBD products, you
Mhm.
can't just make stuff in the basement like Breaking Bad and just move with it. There's a
You
process
can,
to
but you might
everything.
get caught up like I did. But I learned the hard way. What JC say? I do that, so you ain't got to go through that.
Right. I love it. I love it. And now,
Yeah.
talking about your selection of products, how did you come up with, because I have a background in makeup as well. So skincare, selling skincare with MAC, cosmetics. But when I worked in Nordstrom, I sold everything in the cosmetic department. So you're a
Mhm.
Nordstrom employee, essentially, that's what you do. So
Right.
I have some knowledge, some understanding. What was the process like in identifying what products you actually wanted to come out with? Like, what was your first product? Was it the full line you have now? Was it just
Mhm.
one product you focused on? What was that process like?
So I did a full line to start. So I wanted
Okay.
to do a kind of comprehensive skincare and wellness line. So for me, it's looking good and feeling good and performing better. So I wanted to create products that fit along that line. So I created the skincare products, which is the cleanser and the moisturizer, so that you can look good. I mean, as a woman, specifically for the culture, like we got that swag. We like to look good every day. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go to bed looking good.
Right.
So it was really important for me to do a skincare product. And then I have a kind of face and body oil. So it's pretty much you can use it everywhere, but I branded it face and body just so people kind of understand like what they can do with it. You can also use it as on your face because it's oil based so that you can seal in. So I like to use it on my face at night. And then I have a pain relief cream, which I like to use when I'm being active. So being that I'm promoting wellness, I wanted to create something that people could use when they're about to work out, whether they're running, whether they're going to the gym, whatever that looks like. You can put it on before to help you to prep your muscles before you go to the gym, and then after you shower to kind of help you relieve. So that's kind of the gist of Zyn Wellness right now. And we actually have some new products coming out on 420 that I'm going to actually exclusively drop here probably around the end of the podcast.
Okay. Come through, anniversary products. I love
Yes.
that. And
Yes.
so, what's the process like in terms of turnaround time? So, you have this idea, right? So, say you have an idea for your next product,
Yeah.
and you have to, source the ingredients to make it happen. Like walk us through what that looks like. So, I'm sitting there and I'm
Right.
like, okay, I want to create a moisturizer with
Yep.
CBD, like start to finish the
Okay.
process.
You have some different options. So you have your white labeling option, which is probably the easiest option because those formulations most of the time have already been created. So what that looked like for me was connecting with the manufacturer, maybe tweaking some of the ingredients like some terpenes, which is a have you heard of terpenes? This is a cannabis term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so tweaking some of the ingredients there, maybe if need be, but just sampling and trying stuff was like the longest process for me, just to make sure that I actually liked what I was putting out there because I don't want to put out a crappy product, right? So
Right.
understanding what products I wanted to actually introduce to people and then testing those and then going from there. So that process was probably like 45 days, I would say, which was Pretty quick, I think. But I've had other businesses before, so I kind of move quick when it comes to stuff like that. But I would say maybe like 60-day turnaround would be like average. When you white label with Zyn Wellness, we kind of take care of all that stuff for you. So we do like design, we do like the whole nine. We'll help you like set up your banking, like all that stuff, so you don't have to go through all the mess that I went through. But
Mm-hmm.
white labeling is one option, or if you want to, which is a more expensive option, you can actually formulate your own products and work with the formulator and tell them kind of like what you want it to do, what you want in it, and then they will create a custom product for you. But that usually takes like a certain minimum order quantity to do stuff like that. So that's can be a phase two, but you can start like that as well, just depending on your funding and what you're able to do.
Nice, nice. So we have shout out to Outlet LA in the building on the live stream.
Hey.
And if you're in here watching live, we're Coffee Talks Live, Stizzle Speaks. I'm here with Jay from Zyn Wellness, and we're talking about her brand, where she started, and CBD. And I'm someone, like I said earlier, I don't know anything about CBD. I remember when what brand, I don't remember the brand that it was, but when CBD started to become a popular thing in cosmetics, and I was like, okay, so what exactly is this going to do for me, and does it work, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes with cosmetics, I used to find customers that will come in and get skincare products and expect like a miracle the next day, and I'm like, well, first you have to use it for a while. It takes some time for your skin to get used to different things. But what are the benefits of CBD when it comes to skincare products, and what makes that different than just going out and getting your typical
Just your regular
moisturizer?
product. Yeah. So CBD has some significant healing benefits. You could think of it as, I like to call it like a calmer. So it kind of brings things back to homeostasis. And I'm thinking in terms of skin and topicals, just speaking to my brand. But CBD has been known to help with inflammation, which, if you're using it for skincare, can be pretty significant for rosacea, acne, redness, irritation, things like that. It's really good with helping manage oil production. And it's really good to be an option for opioids if you're going to use it as a tincture, ingestible, that sort of thing. But I just really like to think of it as a calmer. For skincare, it kind of takes your skin back to how it used to be, but it's not just the topicals. Like, you really have to be well. You got to drink water. You got to be active. You can't just put something on the outside or just expect one thing to kind of change everything. It's a bit of a lifestyle change, but like you said, it does take time to really see long-term results. But with my skincare stuff, especially with the duo, you can see the difference in your skin in like a week. It doesn't take that long. You may even see
Nice.
something in like a couple days, especially if you are someone who avidly wears makeup. Our cleanser really gets down into the pores. It's got witch hazel in it, avocado oil, and some really good stuff. So yeah, it gets down in there.
Love that. And you mentioned lifestyle, so I wanted to go into that a little bit. So
Yep.
someone who doesn't, typically have the lifestyle of a person who's, has an awareness of CBD,
Yep.
how do you have that conversation with them so that they're not one turned off, right? Because there are some people who could be turned off by CBD and be like, well, I don't want to try it. And even though you have
Yep.
an amazing product and you want to get that out there, like, how do you describe or explain the benefits to them if they're like, that's not my lifestyle?
Yeah. So first of all, let them know that it's not psychoactive. It's completely topical because everybody's not trying to get high. So it's you're not
Right.
gonna get high at all. You if you're trying to get high, you're gonna be upset.
Because that's what I thought. I was like, if I put this on, am I going to start feeling a little
No,
funny?
no, at all. It's not psychoactive at all. So hemp is federally legal. So hemp is non-psycho. Okay, so I am in that legal lane federally. Now there's some different stuff going on with THC and state stuff, but I'm not involved in that right now. So it's a safe space to be in. I really like to educate people on the benefits of it, and then just again reiterating that you won't get high, because that's most people's concern is like, okay, am I gonna get high? Like, 'cause then once they get past that, then they're like, oh, okay, so then what else does it do? And then they understand the benefits of the inflammation, helping with acne and all the other benefits too. So you won't get high,
Perfect.
guys.
Okay. And what does like 100 mg or 500 mg CBD,
Gotcha.
like, I know milligrams, but what does that equate to? Yeah, like walk us through, and then we'll go through your product selection as well. But what's the difference in terms of the amounts and the
Mhm.
benefits based on what it gives, or is there a certain criteria for different products?
Not really. You can really think of it like CBD or anything that you take. If you take too much of it, like your body will reject a certain amount of it after a certain level. Oh, my dog's making an appearance,
Oh, we
guys.
got a friend.
Go shot, move.
Oh wait, I'm moving my head like as if me moving could help me see the damn dog.
Look, I'll let him come back in a second. But so basically, it's just your dosage, right? So freeze is my high dosage. So freeze has 500 milligrams of CBD. So it's not per pump, it's per bottle. So you get 500 milligrams of CBD per bottle. Okay, so this is my high dosage pain relief cream, and I wanted to put more CBD in this for the inflammation piece. So before you go work out, before you're active, I even put this on my feet before I put on some shoes that are going to be painful. It's really, really, yes, girl. Listen. So
For
I
my
put these
outlet
on.
Nates.
Yes. Yes. So you got some cute shoes and they don't feel so cute. You can put this on before. Knees in the airplane. It's just really good for pain relief and making sure that you are relaxed, comfy. It's got tea tree oil in it. It is I love this product. I'll take it with me everywhere I go. So gym especially, but this is my wellness and workout aid pretty much. So 500 milligrams here. This one, this is Enlighten. This is the massage oil, as well as Hydrate. Both have 100 milligrams. So again, it's per bottle. So it's not as potent, if you will, as the freeze, but it is for your face, so it doesn't need to be like that strong.
Okay.
And yeah, and then Do has, this is the cleanser. It's just 20 milligrams of CBD in this one. But again, with regular use, you are incorporating CBD into your skincare and lifestyle daily. So it's a actual lifestyle.
Gotcha. Okay. And for the actual, so the milligrams per bottle, right?
Yep.
So it's not per pump. Do you feel like, are there any like topical feelings that you get using the
Mhm.
product that makes it different? Like, will you feel like like tea tree oil is a little
Yep.
minty, so you might get a little
Yep.
tingle here and there.
Yep.
Is there any like,
I got you. So Freeze has tea tree oil in it. So the tea tree oil is really helpful with blood circulation too. So that's really helpful. You're rubbing it in, it's getting into your skin. And this one's topical, so it doesn't absorb into your skin, but it does help to relax and help with receptors because you have a system in your body called the endocannabinoid system that actually processes cannabis. So your body kind of produces cannabis on its own.
interesting?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Did
that's
you have to go to school for this?
the School of Hard Knocks taught me in the last year. So being in these spaces, I learned so much because honestly, before 420, girl, all I knew how to do is sell weed and smoke weed. So
Right.
I had to learn the legal side of all of these things. And as I was formulating and creating the product, I learned a lot of these things that I needed to make sure that I considered before putting the product out there.
Okay. And let's explore that a little bit because again, the message with Coffee Talks is to make sure someone can log in and say, okay, you know what, I'm interested in starting my own CBD,
Yep.
cosmetic line or what so have you, or what that process looks like for someone who's a young Black entrepreneur woman at that, out here really doing her thing. Like, so did you have to sit down and go to YouTube University to find the information, or did you put yourselves in rooms with people who are like known
Mm-hmm.
for CBD products? Like, what was that
Mm-hmm.
process for you?
I did all of the above. I did YouTube University, of course, to start, and then do a lot of research on regulations and what's legal and what's not, what I can do, manufacturers, that kind of thing. But I really wanted to be in the space and moving and shaking and understanding what was going on. So I joined some organizations that are associated with the industry. I made some friends that are in the industry and started kind of going to some of these events and understanding, what's going on. I just really had to jump in so that I could understand how I needed to maneuver.
Gotcha.
I was like learning and hearing all of this information in conversation and in real time having to like regurgitate. So it was like crazy.
Yes, because I
Yeah.
mean to go from not having a business, just having this idea, of knowing what you wanted to do, to being a year in and like your website looks amazing. That's why I'm looking to the side because I'm looking at the website right now. But the website is amazing. Your product selection is great because you have something for every part of the body that people can benefit from. So to go from that level in a year is commendable, especially in the beauty industry, because there are so many regulations when it comes to skincare products in general, never mind when you add CBD or the other component of hemp to it. So to do that in a year is commendable. So I really commend you for being in this place, in this position, and going through it and just saying, I'm going to get it done. It might be that hustler's background, right? Being from the trap, we going to make it happen.
Listen.
So yeah, that's dope.
But also to go back to like the white labeling process, that lends a lot to being able to create a brand like this, because they
Mm-hmm.
have certain standards that they have to abide by as a manufacturer that roll into certain coverages for your brand that you don't have to worry about as a white label customer. So there's a
Gotcha.
bit less risk, especially when it comes to cosmetics, because there's licensing and all kinds of stuff involved. But when you're working with a legit white label manufacturer, they're covered. So therefore, you are covered in a certain sense. You still should get your own like product liability insurance for your brand, especially in this space, cosmetics, because you never know like who's going to be allergic to something, and then they try to come for you. So those things are really really important. But that's just things that I know from other businesses that I've done in the past, you know what I mean? But also, I'm learning a lot and I've fallen and gotten back up quite a few times in this space already. So it's the journey.
Right. It's definitely the journey. And how did you go about finding a manufacturer?
YouTube University.
Okay.
So YouTube University is where I started. And then I started asking people. I had joined an organization, Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I joined them when I first started and found a couple of mentors in the space for that stage of development and just really used my resources. I am extremely resourceful. So I will always ask and find a way. So that's probably like my superpower is just making sure that I'm gonna find the information. So I'll start here and I'm gonna just keep connecting the dots until I get there. So yeah.
Right. That sounds like a whole course that you could sell right there.
Listen.
My
And,
wheels are
and
turning.
not
I was
being
like, yep, that's a
scared.
course.
Not being
Uh-huh.
scared to fail or to learn. I mean, it's not really failing, it's learning. I mean, you're not going to know you're not doing something correct unless you don't do it right. So
100%. a
yeah.
100%. You have to make the mistakes. I agree. And then in terms of actually starting financially, right? Because people are always wondering how much money do I need to
Yeah.
actually start this type of business?
Yeah.
So we already know what happened with PayPal, that whole
Yes.
scenario, and
Yes.
having $1,400 or so on hold for 6 months. Like, how much capital did you need to really get started? If you don't mind sharing, you don't have to share the
Yeah.
exact amount if you don't want.
I would say I started with probably like $5,000. And that included white labeling, branding, website, logo, like all of that kind of thing for about five. And that included my first batch of products too. And keep in mind the white label, like that $5,000 stretches because there is certain coverage that they have that I don't have to get on my own. So it wasn't like a small investment, but you don't need that much either because I also started with 5 products. So you can look for people who have smaller minimum order quantities, start with one product. Like you don't have to start with the whole line. You could just do 1 or 2 products, be really good at that, and then you can expand as you grow. So don't ever feel like you have to start. Like if you don't have $5,000, that's fine. You can save. You can start with whatever that looks like your minimum. Just do your research, find your manufacturer, and negotiate. Everything's
Mhm.
negotiable.
Everything.
Everything.
I just
Yeah.
got a book actually. I moved my whole bookshelf, but I just recently bought a book on negotiating. Not that
Mhm.
because I took a class in college on negotiating, which definitely helped because it's like anything else I remember is supply and demand, and that's like it. But everything is negotiable. That's a great point, especially in business. Especially in business. And so, for your price point for your products, how did you come up with the price point? Was it based on your ingredient list, with what was in the product, or was this something that the manufacturer kind of had a part in? How did
Mm,
that work?
so generally, your white labels will have like a retail price that they suggest to you. For me, that's just if I'm selling only this. Like I got to consider packaging. I have to consider shipping. There's things that you have to consider. So you have to be really strategic about what it is that you want to include in your offerings so that you can quantify that, break that down, and make your price make sense and understand what your profit is actually going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a bit of planning. And just remember, you can always expand on those offerings, but you just have to start somewhere and make sure that you're doing the numbers because you want to make sure that you're making a profit. You don't want to be selling it and not considering your shipping prices, not considering your insurance that you have to pay for product liability every month. Like you have to consider all of these things as the cost of doing business and incorporate that into the product to kind of break down your price.
For sure. Girl, I
Yeah.
just got back on Poshmark. I was actually telling Eric, who's watching with the outlet, I went to ship something and I thought to myself, I was like, does this make any sense right now? My price point for what I'm selling this on Poshmark for? Because clearly I'm paying for the label, paying for the packaging, taking my ass to Staples to get all
Mm-hmm.
that, and then going to the post office. And I was like, no, 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 I need to up this price
Mm-hmm.
point because
And
this
you got
doesn't
to
make
pay
any sense.
Poshmark too. Poshmark
And you
wants
got
yours.
right, and they take their cut. So I was like, Facebook Marketplace or stick with Poshmark? Like, what's the what, right? And I'm a business
Mm-hmm.
person. Like, I know that. It's just in the moment I didn't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
those watching that are like thinking about selling products and whether it's white label or creating your own, you really have to understand your numbers. You have to do the work. Like, sit and write everything out
Yeah.
before you say yes, because you can screw yourself and not have inventory for the next month because you spent all your money just trying to get your first round of products. And
Yes.
a lot of times too, I find, small businesses when they start, they don't really turn profit in the first year,
No.
right? And so for you, have you been able to turn profit or see profit yet, or are you still working through getting to that point?
I saw a tad. So it was closer to breaking even, which was my goal for my first year, actually. And that was like, that made me really happy. But I did turn a slight profit. But I anticipate this year we're going to do some good profit in 2022 and going into 2023. But you just have to be realistic. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, look at what you can afford. Like you can always build, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to start big. You can start wherever you're comfortable and just make sure that it makes sense. Like look at the cost. Look how much it's costing you. Consider everything that you have to pay for and be sure to incorporate that. And they have like templates and Excel sheets where you can just actually Google these things and put in the cost of your goods, put in the cost of your shipping, and it will suggest a price per product for you. You know what I mean? So there's things like this, you can find anything on the internet, you know? You
Listen,
just gotta be strategic about what you're looking for and don't let anybody tell you that you can't because you can. You know what I mean? Like don't get in your own way. Just do your research, do what you can do. And if you can't do anything in that moment, save, be strategic, but don't give up on your dream and your plan.
I love that. And speaking of which, I think this question is perfect timing. So, what do I do if I make my initial investment and things go left?
Well, that has happened before. So what can I say in business from learning that? Do your research. I mean, you have to really look at market trends. Like, you don't want to get into something and it's not going to sell. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to say, is this going to sell? Is this a thing? Can I market this? How can I get this out here to sell? You know what I mean? That's really, really important. You don't want to have a product that's not going to sell. So just be really strategic in that and make sure you watch your numbers and you should be okay.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we lose money before we make money.
Most of the time.
That's what happens. And then for your product selection, because you just mentioned that, and it made me think. When you decided the products that you were going to come out with, was it based on what you wanted to do and the products that you knew you wanted to put out, or was it a mix of like market research or what people are looking for, or kind of
Mhm.
like the top cosmetic products on the line, like out there
Mhm.
for skincare?
Mhm. It was a combination of both. I knew specifically that I wanted to do something with skincare and pain management. And I also wanted to incorporate stuff. I don't have the vinyasa anymore. I discontinued it. That was like the little peppermint stick that I was doing. But
Mm,
um, I wanted to create something where you could incorporate the products into your wellness lifestyle. So that was like top of mind for me. And then, like I said, it's the look good, feel good, perform better for me. So the skincare, the pain management, and the massage oil, it kind of just like,
made sense.
yeah,
Yeah, love
yeah,
that. And now, are you doing this all by yourself, or do you have a team?
it's just me.
What?
It is just me. And I have 3 businesses, and I have a full-time job, girl.
Okay, so
So
let's explore that because that's great. Because there's so many people who are like, I'm gonna quit my full time job and
Mhm,
start working in my own business. I got
mhm,
this, and it doesn't work out, or for some it does work out. So
mhm.
what led you to the decision to stay working full time and then 3 businesses? Are your other businesses something we could talk about?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So I was
absolutely. Yeah. So I have a hair business and then a consultancy.
okay.
So yeah, so I actually quit my job for a year after having saved and knew that I wanted to get back to entrepreneurship. I left my job and took a year off and went hard to build Zen Wellness. I actually just started back working 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I did have the opportunity to take some time off, but I have worked full time and built businesses at the same time. But I really, because I didn't know this business, I knew that I was going to need to spend a little bit more time on it because I knew nothing about the cannabis industry really. So I was blessed enough to plan and take a year off. And like I said, I have a consultancy, so I had some side clients. I'm whipping up hair on the side. I'm doing everything that I had to do in order to keep the brand going. So yeah, that's kind of how that went.
Okay. No wonder why your hair always looks nice.
I'm a
A
licensed
good old hair
cosmetologist,
business. I
girl.
didn't know that. I'm like, hold on now. You're gonna hear from me after this.
I got you.
The struggle is real with the hair.
I
Listen,
got
I'm
you.
like the humidity. I can't take it. I had full curls earlier. It's just that's why I did that post.
I saw.
I debated cutting this bad boy off because I can't do it anymore. It's so stressful here,
I
and
got
it's
you.
hard
Don't
to
worry
find a
about it.
stylist. Like it's so hard to find a stylist in LA. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what these people are on, but
That's a whole nother listen.
girl,
That's a whole nother subject. I'll come back as Polly and Jay and we'll talk about the hair.
see,
Yeah.
I love it. So knowing that you do this by yourself, I want to talk about
Yes.
your marketing and your IG and your content a little bit because like you're one of the people that I can count on to have something posted on that page. Like you don't play when it comes to your content. So talk to us about your process in developing your content. Like what does that look for you? Do you have a content calendar? All these things that other people have? Like how do you come up with your plan?
So it started off just like freestyling. Like I'm just like, okay, I just know I need to post. But
Yes.
that posting is exhausting and you have to have a plan. So at first I was posting because I wanted people to see it, these sorts of things. But then I'm like, okay, so what is the goal here? So I started just kind of working backwards from my goal. And because it's just me, I do a weekly content plan. I wish I had enough time and brain cells after the end of the day to do like a monthly, but I just start in baby steps. So I usually just take a few different days of the week. I might do like reel batches, right? So I'll go check reels, see what sounds I might want to grab, and I'll just save them. I
Okay.
don't make them right then all the time, but I'm really intentional about making sure that I save at least like 5 of them a week, right? So then I'll go back and then I'll record and make them in another day. And then I will have planned like what are my sales going to be for this week? What messages do I want to get out for this week and work backwards from those questions and goals. And then I create the content. I use a content poster that what is it, later.com I use
Okay.
to go in there and pre-plan my content. So it sends me notifications. So I just push a couple buttons to push things out. But I'm doing that because I have to, because it's just
Right.
me. One of my goals in 2022 is to build out a team. So, but that's something, again, it comes with just growing and scaling. But to start, you wear every hat. Every hat. You the CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, you everybody.
Yes.
The
Everything.
administrator, janitor, you everybody.
You the damn customer too.
you Listen, you are literally every person on your team, and you are the team of me, like Roscoe
Yes.
Jenkins.
I know
Literally.
that's right.
But it's necessary because for me, it's important for me to lay down the foundation because my end goal isn't to be in the day to day of this every day. It's important for you to lay that foundation and create your processes and understand what that looks like because you have to document that. Even if you're going to bring in someone, you have to be able to tell them what to do. So
Right.
if you're just moving and shaking and not knowing what to do, you got to have a plan, whether that comes to your content or whatever that looks like. So just being intentional and really thinking a little bit deeper about what it is that you want to convey. Yes, you have a product that you love, you want to share with the world. Okay, now what? You really
Mm-hmm.
have to think strategically about it.
For sure. And if
Yes.
you're just tuning in, this is Coffee Talks Live. I'm Stizzle Speaks. I'm here with Jay, Zyn Wellness, and we're talking about intentional wellness for women in her brand and her line, and how she got to this point in entrepreneurship as a Black woman, just doing her thing solo.
Woo!
Like doing it by herself and making it happen, and still being intentional in the business and being present in the business. And to your point, it's really about understanding every aspect, right? Because the other thing too, I think of Steve Harvey. I think it was Steve Harvey. I hope I ain't quoting this wrong, but he was talking about not knowing where his money was going and that they weren't paying his taxes, right? And it's like
Ooh.
you
Okay.
have to be in every point of your business, especially in the beginning, so that you
Mhm.
can teach others to come in and take over and you can be promotable. And a
Yep.
lot of times I tell people that in leadership, it's like there's one thing to micromanage and want to take on ownership of everything. And there's
Mhm.
another thing to delegate, to teach and delegate so people learn.
That
Two
part.
completely different things. So, kudos to you in that aspect. Is again, I'm like, I'm blown away because I know we had our initial coffee talks conversation in December, but I didn't realize the caliber of where you were sitting with this, and I'm so proud of you. It's
Hmm.
listen,
Thank
it's
you.
about leveling up, and you definitely leveled up this past year
Oh.
with the business. What are the top three learning moments that you experienced?
Hmm. That this is a white man's space. And you mentioned that earlier that this is like, you think male dominated when you think of cannabis. Um, this industry has made it. Uh, Cannabis is taboo, right? Very taboo. Just like you said, you might come into this thinking that you're going to get high. You don't know because government and all these, bodies have made it seem that way, right? But they realize that you can make a lot of money now. So now these large white male generally run organizations are taking all of this money in. They don't always know anything about cannabis. They just got money to invest. They
Mm-hmm.
are taking over the industry, and I come from trap life, right? So for me, it's not like I'm taking it personal, but it's a challenge because it's like, damn, it's so crazy to see because I got cousins, friends, people right now still locked up for weed. But here come in the industry, we call them the Chads. Here come the Chads with their checks and their money. And it's okay for them to do this. And they're taking over at such speed, and it's really hard for a small business to thrive in a certain way. You know what I mean? It's almost like your mom and pop, competing with Walmart. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So you have to be creative. That's also why I wanted to stay in the beauty space because these are $2 million billion industries. So I feel like either way, I can't lose.
Can't lose. And beauty's not going anywhere. It's not
Never.
going anywhere. If anything, is
Listen.
getting even more money's
Yes,
coming
I
down
have
the
seen
pipeline.
women spend their rent money on their hair and their looks. So, we ain't playing around about that. But that's been one of the biggest challenges is just not just seeing what's happening to this industry. This legacy market is what we call the trap in this industry. So seeing the legacy market and just what's happening to it and the people that have been involved in it. It's just kind of crazy, because I feel like those people should have a seat at the table, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
always, and they make it really, really difficult for you to have a seat at the table because the parameters are not built for us, right?
Right.
So that's one of my biggest challenges. Um, I would say another biggest challenge, this is just for my brand personally, is being a CBD brand existing in THC land. We live in
So
California.
what's our difference for the people who
Ooh.
don't know?
Okay, so
CBD versus THC.
THC is like what you're probably thinking, like your weed, right? So this is like your normal term. So this is what you use to have a psychoactive sort of reaction to however you ingest it, whether you're smoking it, whether you're eating it, whatever that looks like. THC is a derivative that will give you a psychoactive reaction. Okay, CBD, hemp, no psychoactive reactions. There are some technicalities on some of the cannabinoids, but for the most part, not psychoactive technically. And CBD is hemp and federally legal. THC is not federally legal, but can be state legal.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that has been a challenge, just being a CBD brand in the THC space, because California's been pioneering this for a long time. So they're like, man, we don't want no damn CBD.
Right. They want the good stuff.
I got 5 on day on that. You know what I mean? So that's actually been one of my challenges in and communicating that in those spaces when I was trying to learn the industry and that kind of thing. They're like, CBD, skincare, what are we at?
Right.
You know, so that's definitely been a challenge. And then let's see. What would be another challenge? I would say, honestly, and this is me being completely candid, is putting myself into my brand. So
Mm,
if I could, in a perfect world, just be behind the scenes, y'all ain't see me hardly. I just got models and all these things. I would probably have done that if I could, because I, again, came up in a trap. So I'm a very no face, no case type of
right.
personality. And we didn't grow up with this stuff. So you know what I mean? Like, so to have to be intentional about content and making sure that I'm in it to connect with people, like that has been challenging for me. But as you can see, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you're doing it. That's why I was like, I would be surprised. I mean, I'm surprised to learn that
Yeah.
it wasn't intentional for you to be the face of the brands. Because
No.
I like literally going to your page, I would be like, yep, this is perfectly intentional. So I
Yeah.
mean, you're doing the right thing.
Now,
Get there.
because I noticed when I wasn't in my content that my insights were bad and my conversions were low.
Ah, oh,
So I'm like, okay, people want to see me. All right, let's do this. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So that's been challenging too.
yeah, because now you're spreading yourself in all these different places and different percentage on the battery. But it's true because people buy into people. They don't buy into brands.
Yep.
People work for people. People buy into people. They don't work for brands. They don't buy into brands anymore. Like gone are those days.
Yep.
So
They
perfect.
want to
What
trust you.
yeah, right? What are you most proud of looking back in the past year, going through the process of getting this baby started? Again, the white labeling made the process a little bit easier, quote unquote, for you. But what is a moment where you look back and you're like, you know what? I fucking did that right there.
I'm starting to have those moments now because I'm like catching up on the year and I'm like working on, like, doing my recap and that whole thing. So I'm like looking back and I'm like, oh wow, like I've done a lot of community work and I'm very, very, very proud about that because I did this for the community. Everything I do for my community. Okay. Like we all we got. So it's very, very important for me to connect with the community in different ways. So I mentioned how legislation and all that kind of is, affecting the community, the industry rather. I was doing some expungement clinics through InfoMM. We were helping people get like their marijuana charges dropped and that sort of thing. So I did that all around the country. That's probably one of my proudest moments. It's
Nice.
just being able to pour out into others. For me, the measure of a person is not what you can do for yourself, but what you can do for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can ever pour out into somebody else and help them find their zen, find peace of mind, whatever that looks like, and just spread that in the community, I feel good about that. So I would say that's probably like one of my proudest things is just being able to connect with my community intentionally and break generational curses with wellness and self-love.
Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. Love that. What's your daily routine? Because I know that's a hot thing for people to understand. Everybody's daily routine. People are so nosy.
You mean like skincare wise?
No, just like as an
Just in general.
entrepreneur, yeah,
Oh,
as an
Lord.
entrepreneur with three businesses, a full-time
Okay.
job, a dog. Okay, like we cannot forget about the dog in the back because that's like a child. Like, what
Listen.
is your daily routine to make it all, worth it at the end of the day when you lay your head down?
Yeah. So strategy. Like I'm sitting here right now with my notebook, like sitting it like right here. Like I strategize everything with intention. So I am big on time and scheduling. So I make sure that I schedule everything. Like my job is on my schedule because it's a part of my plan. Like I got that blocked
Wait,
out.
like your actual job, like going to work?
Work is on my calendar. It said traffic is on but I'm just that way. So for me, like I have to schedule. Everything has to be intentional. So I wake up in the morning. I might make my bed, depending on how I'm feeling that morning. If I make my bed, it's a really, really good day. But most of the time, I just hop out. I get started. I do my face routine. I usually meditate in the morning, try to do some sort of speaking of life into myself in the morning before I even get started with my day. Like that's really, really important to me, whether I'm journaling or doing some sort of form of self care, especially doing my face routine. I like to say real nice things to myself while I'm doing my face. After that, I usually check some emails, push out my content for the day for that morning, make sure that I have everything ready to go. I try to have breakfast, coffee, and then Monday through Wednesday, I work in an office at my full time job. So then I go to work. I have my personal laptop out on my desk. I got my work laptop. So like I'm back and forth. I'm just like straight multitasking, like every moment of my life. So it kind of just takes that because I have so much going on. But really, it's the strategy. You really have to be intentional about what you want to say, how you want to say it, what end result you want to get, and push that. Because if not, you're going to be all over the place.
Right. And I
Yeah.
love that you're working within the business at your full time job. I know that's right. And that's what
Listen,
people need to understand. Like, when you go to work, like, if you want to, because again, I'm a firm believer, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Like, there's moments, even with myself, I'm like, I might be better off as an entrepreneur because I mean, don't get me wrong, I can see a vision. Like I can create a vision and I
yeah,
can deliver a vision to a team and help them understand that vision and align with it. But you take the road less traveled. And for me, it's like entrepreneur, like I love helping other people with their vision and their ideas, right? And so I tell people if you want to be a 9 to 5er, that's totally fine. Go work, right? Because we need those people who want to be in the field,
yeah,
but make it work for you. So when
yeah,
you're going to these jobs, be intentional about what are you going to get out of working for these folks. Like just don't just go to work for a paycheck. Go to learn something, go to get some information, or go there and work on your business. Like my friend, she works on her business at the desk at work.
mhm. Yep, and I do. And you have to be intentional, like even with everything with intention, which is why self-discovery is so important, right? You got to know what you're doing and you got to know where you're going. And you may not know every step of the way, but you have to know what direction that you're going in so you can create your strategy. So when I vetted this job, I made sure I needed something hybrid because I need my couple days. Like right now, I wouldn't be able to do this if, right? So I was like, okay, I got this business. Let me see what I can do. We got a lot of remote situations, a lot of hybrid situations right now because of COVID. So you got to kind of just figure out what it is that you want if you do need to get a job, what you want out of the job, how long you intend on staying there, like a lot of things. What matters to you, and what
Right.
does that look like to you, right? So that's really what's important, and making sure that you're choosing something that works for you.
Right. So if you're watching, you can still work a 9 to 5 and run your business. Jay is a prime example of that. She has 3 different businesses and she's just recently went back to work. But if you missed the beginning portion of our conversation, she did spend a year of her time really invested into, Zyn Wellness and making sure she wasn't working because she had to learn a lot of things to make this business become where it is right now and just grow to get even bigger. So, there's a way to do it. It's all about being intentional and doing it the right way.
Yes,
Thought,
but it ain't
thoughts.
easy. It ain't easy. Let me just tell you that right now. Like it's not gonna be easy.
Nah,
You have like it's not for the faint of heart at all. You're gonna bump your head, you're gonna scrape your knees, you're gonna do all of the things, but it's just the journey. So if you're thinking it's gonna be easy, it's not. So don't think that at all.
nah.
But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
And 420 is coming upon us very soon. That is your year anniversary. And
Yes,
so I know you got some things you want to talk about for the anniversary. So let's get into the good stuff.
I
And you know what? I need
do.
to get some products. I'm very hesitant about what I use because I'm so sensitive.
Okay.
Um, and so I haven't even like looked into it. So I got on the website and I was like, let me look into this because
Yeah.
now I understand CBD.
Yeah.
So I have to get my hands on some stuff. I just ran out of my Alicia Keys Soul Care.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so
Oh,
sad about it, but yeah, I definitely want to try some things out. So let us know
I
what's the
got
good
you.
stuff.
I got you. So let me just tell you what I have right now, and then I'll tell you about my new products that are coming. So we did a little
Mm,
quick intro earlier. So first of all, everything I created, I wanted to make sure that it was low in sulfates. It didn't have any harsh ingredients, and it's created for sensitive skin. That way, everybody can use it. You don't need anything super harsh. We're not trying to like pull. all of the good stuff out of our skin. We just want to make sure that we're cleansing, everything is gentle, and everything works. So, with that being said, this is, can you see?
Mm-hmm.
This is Dew and Hydrate. So this is my number one seller. This is our skincare duo. So this is Dew, 20 milligrams of CBD for your face. This has witch hazel, avocado oil, glycerin, and what is the other? The leaf hemp leaf extract.
Okay.
So and hydrate, and all of them have CBD and hemp leaf extract. Hydrate is 100 milligrams of CBD, and this is a moisturizer. People usually buy this is almost like a shampoo conditioner deal. People buy two of these and one of these usually because the moisturizer you'll use that faster than you'll use the cleanser.
Right.
But the cleanser is really good for removing makeup. So whenever you take your makeup off, you usually got to do two cleanses, right? You get everything off in one cleanse with it. You
Nice.
don't have to use anything else. You just use like your cotton rounds or whatever it is that you use to remove things from your face, and you just use dew, a little bit of water, and it gets everything off all in like one fell swoop. So that is one thing that I really do like about that. Next thing is Enlighten. This is our face, body, and massage oil. I actually like to use this at night on my face and neck. Now, remember, y'all, when you're doing your face care, please put your neck in there.
Mm-hmm.
Please, your grandmama told you to get your neck. Don't forget your neck because necks be telling. You don't want your face to be looking 35 and your neck looking 86. Okay, you got to
Correct.
be sure. So I put this on my face and neck in the evening, and then I use this all over my body. Like it's so like amazing. It smells so good. It has a very light kind of spa eucalyptus kind of scent. So it has really good slip. So this is how I get my body on fleek, and I seal all the moisture into my face and neck with this at night.
Love
And
that.
then we have Freeze, which is our 500 milligram targeted relief rub. So this is my workout aid. This is the one that I put on my feet whenever I'm putting on shoes that are painful, my knees, if I'm taking a flight, any soreness, you can put this on there. And all of these are for external use only, just FYI. So
Okay.
that is my CBD brand. So I am dropping on 420. We are dropping Zyn Organics. So
Oh.
Vegan organics is going to be hemp seed oil derived. Okay, so we're going to have first is going to be a rose face serum. So it's got rose petals infused and it has such an amazing smell. But you can use this as a cleanser or a face serum. So instead of using Enlighten on your face, you can use the hemp seed oil on your face. So you only need like a couple of drops and you just kind of tap it into your face. So I'll send you an exclusive one. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I love that. I love me a good serum because that
Yes.
goes beneath the surface of the skin where your moisturizer is typically more topical.
Yes, and you can feel it. It absorbs very, very well. It won't leave you looking really greasy. So that's going to be the first product that we're going to drop on 420, and then we're going to also drop a toner as well. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to expand upon Zen Organics. For those who may be skeptical about CBD still, we'll have a version that is just purely hemp seed oil derived. So yeah, you guys can stay tuned for that on 420.
Love that. And it's coming. Couple of weeks.
Couple weeks,
Um,
guys. So get ready. That content get ready to start popping.
yes. And then your products are for male and female, right? They're for
Yeah,
anybody. Okay.
yeah, but I mean, mostly female audience is what I have, but anybody could use them. Especially like, I mean, really all of them. This one, I would say, Freeze will probably be the most crossover because it's
Mm,
for working out, and then maybe even Enlighten for guys who like massages and that kind of thing. And this is good for sports massages too. So if you're somebody who goes to get sports massages, sports therapy massages, this works well too because it does help with the inflammation.
love that. And the
Yeah.
price point for the product is really, really affordable. And she has a can of skincare trio. So you
Yes.
can get three of the products packaged together for only
Yep.
$79.99. I'm going to
Yep.
post the link for your website in the description so they'll know where to find you.
Okay.
I love that. And you have gift cards available too. So Mother's Day is coming up really
Yep.
soon. So get your gift cards ready.
Oh,
So that's really good there. I'll post that in the link in the description. And then I always do a what would you do? What do you do on your coffee break? So
what
when
do I
it's your time to
do?
time out, what does Jay do?
You really want to know, like an actual coffee break or just like a time out?
Well, your time out, yeah. I call it the coffee break because it's coffee talks, but yeah, your
Got
time
you. Okay, look. Okay, so my time out, I like to travel. That because I work so hard. if I'm home, or even if I say I'm gonna take a break, I'm gonna be on my laptop. I might not be working as hard, but I'm gonna be doing something. So to really disconnect, I gotta get out of here. So we actually have Zen Travel that I just launched not too long ago. So we're about to start doing international wellness
Look
retreat.
at you.
Yes. So that's coming in the summer. But yeah, travel is like my way to not only expose myself, but to just relax, and it kind of changes your perspective on life when you get to see things you haven't seen before.
Oh, absolutely. And how
Yes.
people live in other places, just
Uh,
not in the United States.
right.
It
Experiencing
really
things
changes.
outside of yourself is extremely important.
Oh yeah. I remember my first time going to Jamaica and I was like, wow.
Hmm.
They like just the kids playing outside, no shoes on their feet,
Hmm.
but the smiles, like they were in just pure bliss, like
Hmm.
no worry in the world. Meanwhile, I'm over here frantic because I don't know where my luggage is, right? And it's like, yo, what is life, right?
Right.
It definitely gives you a different perspective for
Right.
sure.
Yes.
Listen, if you're just tuning in, you missed the episode, but you can go back and rewatch the replay. This is live, Coffee Talks Live with Stizzle Speaks. I was joined by the lovely Jay of Zyn Wellness this week on episode 5. I'm so happy to have you. I'm so thankful that you did come to Coffee Talks Live in December. And I wish you nothing but the best. I mean, we're connected on Instagram, so we're definitely going to stay connected. I
Yes.
am going to leave Jay's Instagram for Zyn Wellness in the description. The link in the description will be for her website and her Instagram page. So make sure you go check her out. Get your CBD skincare on because it's
Yes.
about. And I want you to say the 3 things again. You have three sayings for the business, and I love that.
Yes. Look good, feel good, perform better. All
There
right.
you go. So we're
Yes.
going to level up by looking good, feeling good, and performing better all 2022. And I will see you next week on Coffee Talks Live. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
And thanks for
Peace.
everybody who's watching live. Appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.